Offspin Media Friends proudly presents PS After I Love You, an Offspin original created and hosted by Heer Kant.
After a year of marriage, the family pressure started coming in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to get to give birth to an heir.
Yeah. So initially, I didn't want to have it, and Shruti also said it's too early and we should really not force anything like this.
Nice. And that was an unconventional thing to do. You must have faced a lot of backlash.
Oh, we faced a lot. We are still facing a lot. It's a different
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
We are clear on what we want, so it doesn't matter who says what.
Hi, I'm back with another episode of PS After I Love You. You might know that I'm a Mumbaikar. I was born in the city of dreams and, of course, the city of Bollywood. I come from a city where DDLJ still plays in one of its iconic theatres every single day. And the stories of Raj and Simrans and Rahul from the reel slowly creep into our real lives. Bollywood taught us about shameless grand gestures, flowers and dates, honeymoons and grand marriages, and a whole bunch of crap. I mean, I bought that. We all bought that, ate that, let it flow into our veins whenever we entered into a romantic relationship, and then ended up disappointed. Why? I mean, maybe because it's not real, right? Our guests in this episode tell us how all of that is nonsense, how their story of love is not filmy, not grand, but still very romantic. Let's talk to Bangalorean Shruthi Sundaram, an organic growth coach by profession, a writer by hobby, and Guru Prasad Chandrasekharan, an engineer by profession whose hobby is photography. Let's dive into it.
So, Shruti, you said you guys have been together for 4 years. So, were you in a relationship before you got married, or what is the story there?
So, no, it was an arranged marriage. And actually, the first time we met, the topic of conversation was how neither of us wanted to get married in the first place. And we were bitching about how our families were forcing us to get married somehow. But thankfully, neither of us expected this. And
Okay.
we were also lucky that we had about 10 to 11 months to get to know each other before we got married.
Okay.
And which is quite rare in arranged marriages, isn't it? And it was, everything started from there.
So you can sort of say that we were in a relationship for 11 months.
Right. But
From the
you
day we
both.
met.
So, for 11 months, you were in a relationship, but it was an arranged marriage how you guys met.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you both wanted to get married when you met?
I think Guru should take that up.
The first time my parents told me that that I'm going to have to meet her, so I said no from the beginning.
Okay.
So they convinced me saying that, come on, what is the harm in just going saying hi?
Right.
So I just went there with the mindset of just telling her that I have not even settled into the job yet. I have to settle further in life, maybe buy a house or something, or go somewhere, not in Bangalore probably at that time.
Okay.
So the plan was to just meet her and tell her that I am not ready to get married, and it was going to be a mutual no. That was the plan.
Oh, interesting.
With which I started.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you guys had met someone
Yeah.
before as a prospective life partner, or was this the first time you guys were meeting someone?
For me, she was the first one.
Oh, and Shruti?
There were a couple of guys in the pipeline in double quotes, but I hadn't met anyone. So Guru was the first person that I had met too.
That's pretty cool. So you went to say no and ended up saying yes.
Yeah, poetic, isn't it?
Wow. And what made you say yes? So this is my question I always have when people go for arranged marriages. What do you look for in a person? Do you have a do's and don'ts list? Do you just vibe? What goes on there?
I think Shruti should answer this first.
The first time we met in Meenakshi Mall, and the same thing. So initially, my parents wanted him to come home to meet me because traditional Tamil families. Um, but then I convinced my mom saying that he has to get a chance to run if needed, right? Like it will be really awkward if he comes here and things become if we don't want to get married to each other and stuff. So we met in Meenakshi Mall, and the first time we spoke, we continuously spoke for 3.5 hours almost.
Okay.
And I had never felt that comfortable with anyone before. We could talk freely, the conversation was going in freely. And I mean, we had fun, like we laughed a lot. It was fun. But then again, I did not want to get married at that point of time because I was also 21 when I got married, by the way.
Oh, pretty young, yeah.
Yeah. I was still in my 4th year of college, and my
Okay.
final semester was going on.
Okay.
Okay, just make it clear that we haven't gotten married when you were in your 4th semester.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We
It
got
was engagement when you were in the 4th semester. We got married when you started working. After your probation was over.
yeah, but still I got into child marriage. You can't deny that.
Damn.
So I had actually created a huge list of questions. I think I still have that list in my keep notes or something. I think there were about 26 questions, if I'm not wrong. And
Oh, wow.
yeah. It included everything from my job to kids to career to me taking care of my parents if required, about him, his family, his mindset. The usual questions: does he drink? Does he smoke? And like much deeper questions too.
Okay.
That was crazy. And after the meeting was done, we had to cross the road for me to catch the bus to go back home. And when I asked him, we had to sync up on what we were going to tell our parents. And when I was asking him, hey, what are you going to tell your parents? The same thing I might also probably tell mine. He was like, I'm just going to tell yes.
Okay.
And it was, I was in shock for quite some time.
Wow.
Because I did not expect him to tell yes that soon. Probably he can tell you why he said yes. I still haven't got answer to that question.
Oh, perfect time to answer that question, Guru. You're on the spot.
Yeah, I'll still keep it safe for some other time.
You don't have an answer.
Some other
You
special
don't-
occasion.
Be honest. Okay. So you guys have been together for 4 years now, and has this been a smooth journey, or have you had a lot of ups and downs?
There is no smooth journey when you're in a relationship. That you have to make it clear.
Correct.
Yeah. So yeah, we had our ups, we had our downs, we had our sideways. Yeah, we basically had all 3-dimensional travel.
Okay. And can you share some of those 3D issues that you had?
Shruti, which one you want to start with?
Oh, there are so many. So I think there was an expectation gap between the two of us. Even if we had known each other for a couple of months before marriage. I think I don't think anyone knows until you stay with someone, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, exactly. And there were a lot of mini fights that kept building up. I was dealing with some personal issues myself, and the adulting phase had truly hit me. Actually, hit both of us.
Okay.
For Guru, he had stayed outside his home for quite some time from college.
Okay.
And that was the first time that I had been away from my parents. Though they are just like 2 lanes away from me, it still made a lot of difference.
Right.
So, I mean, I think all that pressure built up a lot.
Okay.
So I think that was the first year is always hard, but after that, at least we knew how to handle, like we got to know each other's equations and we started knowing how to handle each other.
Okay. So how do you exactly deal with arguments and this conflict that you faced? What do you do?
Normally, whenever we argue about something, so for me it is just clear the room, let the friction reduce, let everyone come to a calm state of mind, and then probably continue there or whatever happens. That's how I used to deal with any conflict.
Okay.
And for Shruti, it's sort out then and there.
Very different ways.
So don't let it sit, don't let it brew there,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. So yeah, so that was it took some time to adjust to each other. But so what we started doing was whenever we fight, we tell each other that we have to stop discussing the topic.
Okay.
We'll just sit separate for some time until we start breathing normally,
Okay.
or let's say come back to our senses.
Okay.
Or in most cases, Shruti would say, come back, me coming back to my senses.
That's true.
Yeah, and then, yeah, then if she is calm first, she'll check whether I'm ready to talk, or if I come to normal fast, I'll go and check whether she's ready to talk or something. And then we just sit and talk it out.
Shruti, I'm directing this question at you because you got married when you were 21.
Yeah.
In the
Why
last
are you
4
guys not
years.
talking about me? I was just 24.
Okay, fine. You both got married pretty young. Okay. And now, how old are you guys? Like 4 years later. Has your way of communication changed? Have you both changed? And what keeps you together then?
The way we are with each other hasn't changed, but a lot of other things have changed which has affected this.
Okay.
For example, I was someone who had super low self confidence and self esteem when I got married. And but I also had ego. So I was still struggling to find my way through life, so to speak.
Okay.
And so 2020 was the time when I started blogging, when I started writing, when I started digging deep into my own issues and problems and stuff like that. And as I said earlier, I think last year, Jan 20th, I left my job to become an entrepreneur.
Right.
So the whole transition gave me a huge sense of self confidence and boost in a way that I am good enough, which affected our dynamics, if you know what I mean, right? Because a lot of the fights earlier were based on both of our insecurities.
Okay.
And as we were dealing with each of our insecurities, even Guru had in our own ways, the communication stayed the same, but the kind of fights we had, it weren't the small fights. Like it actually had meaning and depth and stuff like that.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
you're saying if when you got married, you were a different person.
Yes.
And do you feel if you had worked through your issues back then, you would have entered into a relationship in a much stabler way than you did?
I don't think so because Guru gave me that space to work through my issues.
Interesting.
I did not have that space. I did not create that space for myself back home, or I wasn't mature enough to create that space for myself back home. But here, he left me completely on my own, which was a great thing. I had to make my own decisions. Until today, he never gives any opinion on my business. He's very clear about it.
Okay.
And I try to not give opinions on his career.
Wow. So you're giving each other a lot of space.
Yes.
Okay. I'm asking this because there are a lot of people, including therapists, who say that you shouldn't enter a relationship when you're yourself broken or you don't know what you want or you're going through issues. You enter into a relationship when you're whole and fine. And what you're saying is a completely different perspective, that if you hadn't entered this relationship with Guru, you might not have grown in the way you've grown now. And that is what allowed you the breathing space and gave you wings in a way. So that's fantastic. So you both kind of support each other, make each other a better person.
Definitely. I mean, what is whole, right? We as humans are constantly evolving. We are constantly sorting through our issues. It's not that I go through a couple of months of therapy and every issue is sorted out, right?
Of course. Of course.
It's
yeah.
a process. Yeah. So it always depends on whether you find the right person, I feel, who gives you that space and who expects that space from you too.
So the other way to put it is, we are not dependent on each other for everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
If that makes
independence.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes absolute sense. So one of my biggest concerns, and this is coming from a very personal experience, is that when you're in a relationship for a really long period of time, you both do different things, you both have different experiences, and that changes you as a person. So I know I've gone through this before, that in a 7-year relationship, I was not at the same point on year 7 than when I was on year 1, because we both did our own individual things. But in your case, you're saying you're both doing those individual things, and even growing in different directions is not really a concern. It's not really worrying you, because that is what is bringing you together. So that's another unique thing I've heard while doing this podcast. So that's pretty interesting.
We don't fall in love with the person. We don't fall in love with the person. We fall in love with the persona, not the person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The studies say we become a new person every 10 years, right? So if that changes through the process, that is where we see that, over so many years, he has become a different person or she has become a different person. No, they are there. It is simply that what we thought we saw in them is not there anymore, because they have outgrown it and they have gone to a different level, and which is something we are not ready to agree with or ready to gel with that particular thing. So as long as we are with the same set of values, or as the values grow in the other person, you are seeing it, you are understanding it, and you still think that is something you love about that person, it's not going to change anything.
Nice.
Let it be 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, whatever it is.
So, Guru, you said you fall in love with the persona and not the person. When did you fall in love with Shruthi then? Was it when you first met, or was it in the courting period of 11 months?
Okay, I'll put it this way. I realized I was in love with her in the 11 months period.
Okay. So it was a gradual process and not one point in your life.
You can say that, but for example, if you can lift 50 kgs without any breaking a sweat, you don't know it on the spot. You may be doing it continuously, but someday you just realize, oh my God, I'm able to do this.
Beautiful.
Or somebody points it out and you're like, I can do this. it's that kind of a state for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And
One day she was calling me and she was shouting at me. That's when I realized.
wow, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shruti, when did you fall in love?
I think mine was much, much later.
Okay.
I see, because of my past experiences, I had a lot of boundaries around me. Um, and I also have a lot of ego. I can admit that. Um, so I think it was somewhere in September.
Okay.
And
September
for me,
is after you got married or before?
Before I got married. I thought I was at a point where I could share some things with him. Because, okay, to give context, we were very clear with each other that we would start our relationship with friendship. That we would not let our parents or anyone to define the pace of our relationship, basically. Like, so it doesn't matter if we got engaged or married, but we would define what stage of the relationship that we are in. And sometime in September, I felt that I had started to trust him in like a husband way, slowly. And so I went to his house and I wanted to share some personal stuff with him. And the way he reacted to it, there was no judgment. There was just blankness, which I had not expected. And that was what was needed at that point of time. And that's when I realized that, I mean, this is the kind of person that I want to get married to, right?
Okay.
I was the one who told him first, by the way. He never told me. From May to September, he had it in his mind and he never told me.
Okay.
And I told him just that day on the spot. I felt it and I just told it.
So yes, there's this very interesting reel I saw on Instagram today, and it is bringing me to my next question about what love is. So this person was saying love is not something you fall in. Love is a choice. And by that he meant we have our honeymoon phases, we have these nice courting periods, and then there are times when it's really tough to love the person even if you're married to them. It's super hard. Have you gone through these times when you feel like it's super difficult to be in a relationship?
See, we had our, the honeymoon period where it was, shiny, shiny and all goody goody faces and all we had, but I wouldn't say that at any point of time I felt I can't bear this person. I mean, we had fights. She has her own cycle of sometimes fighting with me, sometimes not talking. Yeah, those are there, but I had not felt at any day till now that why did I marry this person?
Okay. And
Or why am I here? What am I doing?
so you've never fallen out of love, and it has never been that you have to fall in love with the same person again for you.
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay. And Shruti?
Okay. So I keep telling him this, but I don't think we ever had our honeymoon period. Okay.
Okay.
I think personally, I just got so comfortable with him. So there was never, there were never those butterflies or stuff like that. It was just pure comfort from day one, at least for me. So, and that's something that I keep complaining to him about, that why didn't we have that honeymoon period? And to be honest, the problems that both of us have had was only because of us. We have never let any third party to come in or point out their opinion, or the fights have never been about a third party. It's only been about us. So I think that also played a huge role in who we are today. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of us do that mistake. We let a third person, an ex person, decide how a relationship is going to go, and it becomes about them and not about us. Yeah. Both of you also bring this very interesting perspective that there is no necessary method or mold of how a relationship is. There doesn't have to be a honeymoon period. It's not like the movies. It's not at all what we read in books. It's completely unique and different for every person. So when we go into a relationship with an expectation of how this didn't happen, we get disappointed. So rather just go in with a blank slate and see where life takes you.
Yeah. So what I felt helped us is going in with a no really helped us realize that this is how it should be. Yeah.
Nice. Interesting. So is there something you guys do together every day, every week? Are there some rituals that you do as a couple for bonding?
Not something which is very great to tell, but this is something which is very precious to us. So every day after we wake up, I'll make a cup of coffee for the both of us, and we'll just sit outside on the terrace. Just sit outside and enjoy the cup of coffee.
Wow.
And then we start our day.
Wow, and this is every single day without fail.
Yes, no matter what day it is, no matter what time we wake up. So even if I am up at 4 o'clock or something, or Shruthi is up at 4 o'clock, she's working, and I get up at 6. So that moment the other person gets up, we take the cup of coffee and we just go and sit outside. Whatever we are doing, we just stop everything and we go.
So it's important to take time out from the day to be together, even if it's to do nothing.
We stop everything, keep phones, laptops inside, and we just sit outside.
Nice, no distractions.
And whenever we get time, we try to go and see the sunsets from the building terrace.
Nice.
So yeah.
Okay, so it's the little things that matter.
Yeah, if we are up early, we go and see the sunrise.
Beautiful. So you don't need any fancy gifts, dates, and grand ceremonies to stay in love at all.
I mean, this is something we value. If somebody likes to go on a date, they should. I'm not telling no.
Yeah, but this is what works for you.
More than going out to some fancy place and sit in the middle of some 50-100 people and try to be with each other, we think that sitting here, just be with each other without any distraction, that's more important for us.
Nice.
I mean, that doesn't mean we don't go out on a date.
So if you were to sit with a few new couples who've just gotten into a relationship, what would your advice be to them? Like, do this, don't do this, based on your learnings in the last 4 years. What would you tell them? And Shruthi, I'd love for you to go first on this.
This is such a difficult question, I feel. Because again, like I said, what worked for us has never worked for my friends, But one thing is giving each other space. I think the dependency becomes too much in some couples. Even emotionally, I'm speaking about. Like, loving each other is different, and being too emotionally dependent is different. And emotional dependency, financial dependency, even a house chores dependency, as simple as that. I think giving each other space and having that independence and having completely different circles, it kind of makes you stay in your identity and not make you feel like you're losing yourself. Right? I mean, that's so important.
Guru?
Yeah, first and foremost would be to keep your individuality. So it shouldn't happen that the other person is forcing you in any way to change who you are.
Hmm.
Unless and until that's going to be a big issue for yourself, you should not change yourself. That's the first thing. And the second thing is always look at why you love that person and are you sure that is who they are. I mean, we know that when we are meeting somebody new or when we are just entering a relationship or getting married, we always project the best side of ourselves.
Correct.
It's a fact. It's like going to an interview. You dress up well,
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
how good you are, and we always try to hide the other side. Whether it is good or bad is not for us to decide. It's for the other person to decide. We may
Correct.
feel that this is something very bad, and the other person might run away because of this. But yeah, it's for them to decide, not for us to decide. So always try to see that what made you fall in love with the other person is actually who the person is,
Yeah.
not that what they showed you. So
Yeah.
try to keep in check, and if you really feel that that's just something they showcased and not who they are, it's better late than never. Say goodbye and leave.
Yeah. Sometimes we also try and look at the person how we want them to be. They don't have that quality, but we just think they'll be like that. They'll change later, and we make them into someone else, and then get
Yeah.
into a relationship, and then it leads to obvious breakups and disappointment.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very well said. Have you guys gone through some moments which you cannot forget that has molded you into what you are today? Something that has made you cry or laugh, something that you cannot forget?
I think it was so we got married in 2019, and December 2019 we had gone to Kerala,
Okay.
and there was this huge ass lake. I forgot the lake's name, and we were going, I think, paddle boating there, if I'm not wrong. It was beautiful. Like, there were mountains, there were trees, and there were fog setting in. And there I was crying.
Okay.
I think that was what I mentioned about, the small things adding up throughout the year and the expectation gap. We kept paddleboarding for, I think, 40 minutes, an hour. We made sure, like, there's nowhere to escape also, right?
Yeah.
You have to be there. So that was like the turning point, I think, because we made sure we actually got into the root cause of what was the problem, because otherwise we were just, shifting through and like, upar say we were solving the problem and going, but we actually got into the root cause then. And we sorted things out. We sorted our expectations out. Like, one conversation changed everything, at least for me. And we could literally see the change in the relationship after that one conversation.
Okay.
It was kind of transformative for me.
Okay. And for you, Guru, any moment that you'd like to share?
One I want to share is about a decision that we made that really changed our life. Yeah, so after a year of marriage, the family pressure started coming in. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. To get to give birth to an heir.
Yeah. So, initially I didn't want to have it. And Shruthi also said it's too early and we should really not force anything like this. So after a while, from her parents, from my parents, from my entire family, from some family, close relatives from her side, after all of those, we sat down with her parents. They were trying to convince us and all, and somehow, somewhere it went everywhere, and at one point it was like, why not, let's give it a try, or let's get it over with, was the appropriate word to use.
Okay.
So it was going on for quite some time, and that was really taking a toll on Shruti. So
Okay.
yeah, so more than me, to be precise. So at a point, I was like, okay, let's see what happens. And for her, it was, yes, she said, let's see what happens, but she really didn't want to do it. And this one day, we both sat together, and she told me openly that she really didn't want to do it. And I said, if you don't want, let's not do it, and let's make it official. So the moment that specific moment when both of us said, let's not do it, that's that from that moment on, uh, I actually uh, saw her mental state improve.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that was one big moment for me.
Right. And you're
That's
both.
actually when I realized how much of stress she was taking in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're both happy with being just the two of you forever. You were content with that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. No, see, it might change after a while, but the point is that at that moment when we said we are not going to force ourselves to do anything just for the sake of others, that's a big moment for us.
Yeah.
So we stood up for ourselves.
Nice. And that was an unconventional thing to do. You must have faced a lot of backlash.
Oh, we faced a lot. We are still facing a lot. It's a different
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. And how do you deal with that?
No, we are clear on what we want, so it doesn't matter who says what.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that because a lot of people give birth to a kid because they want to fill some void in their lives. Or there is this very common Indian advice, बच्चा कर लो सब ठीक हो जाएगा. And a lot of people fall for that too.
Oh,
So-
don't get me started about it.
Yeah.
No,
I
we
get
had a lot of comments like that, but there was that one moment I realized. So, if you had a baby, you guys will be together. No, we'll be together just to take care of the baby, not for each other.
Oh my God.
And looking at our parents, it's like that glass break moment in How I Met Your Mother. So it's
Yeah,
like, okay,
I
they
know
are
what you're
telling
talking
this.
about.
So this is how they were. So this is how we turned out to be. And we saw them never being in love with each other, just staying with each other, taking care of each other. It's like on a mini old age home where the wife takes care of the husband. So you don't see love in their eyes.
Yeah.
So that's something that triggered this decision. And yeah, till now we are happy, no matter what anybody says.
Beautiful, yeah. Nice. That was a brilliant answer. I love how you both are going about your life. So kudos to you. And that brings us to the last question for this podcast. Tell me in one word, and these are 3 words that you have to give an answer to. What are the 3 things that a relationship must have so that you don't break apart, so you're together? What are those 3 things according to you? And just one word answers.
Friendship, respect, and space.
Nice. And Guru?
Yeah, so I also have an overlapping answer. So my 3 things are trust, respect, and space.
Nice. Interesting.
Yeah. It is so funny that both of us did not include love in that, no?
Yeah, so this is something I've come across. We have a very ghisapeta definition of love.
I think we've gotten it from Bollywood movies and stuff that it has to
Yeah.
be Cupid and butterflies. But it's not at all that.
It's
So this is
bullshit.
love. Like these three things together is love for you. Yeah, it's complete
Yeah.
bullshit.
You just heard PS After I Love You, an Offspin original created and hosted by Heer Kant. Post-production by Arif Chagla, Rajesh Ravi, Anant Krishnan, Sandeep Banerjee, Krishank Das, and Harshlin Israni.
The opinions expressed in this show are personal to the guests and the host and do not necessarily represent the opinions of the producer or the platform. This show does not intend to defame and denigrate any individual or organization in India or outside. The show is created for entertainment purposes only. It does not encourage smoking, drinking, or any kind of substance use. It may contain the use of harsh language that may be considered offensive, rude, or profane by the listeners. Listeners are advised to use their discretion.